So I wanted to make a quick video regarding race and the U.S. Census Bureau. There was a gentleman that commented in the comments section of my video stating that the census gives us a good idea of what percentage of the United States population is white. No, it doesn't. Why doesn't it? He stated that, well, if you take out the non-white Hispanics, boom, there you go. That tells you how many white people are in the country. No, it doesn't. There's a reason why, actually. Some of those Hispanics might actually be white, although not according to my standards, because as I said, whites should come from Northern European descent, meaning Irish, English, German, generally Celtic or Germanic or Nordic or even Slavic, like the blonde hair, blue eyed type of Slavs. But Southern Europeans and things like that, like, Mediterranean people, I do not consider white. That's why, as I've noted, me being a quarter Italian would disqualify me from my own classification of being white because I am a quarter Mediterranean. Okay? But I do want to get a genetic test to find out exactly how much of this or that I am and blah, blah, blah. What have you. I mean, I want to find that out, see where I stand there. I'm not having the money right now to throw it away on something frivolous like that, but that is my goal. I actually am more interested in finding out genetically what illnesses I'm more predisposed to and things like that, so I can adjust my lifestyle to avoid certain illnesses. But what I want to point out is the classification of white. Now, it doesn't include East Indian anymore. They put East Indian in with Asian, which is asinine. Okay? But you have to understand, as the Census Bureau states, which will be in the description, they're not trying to classify people with biological race or anthropological, by the bone structure and things like that. Although I think they should be. I think things should be consistent from the scientific community all the way down through, what have you. But according to the Census Bureau, white people are considered anybody that is descended from the indigenous people of Europe, North Africa, or the Middle East. Okay? Europe, North Africa, or the Middle East. It used to include some East Indians. Okay? Now, I knew this was off because I majored in criminal justice. Remember, race is an important identifier when you're looking for a suspect. Okay? So, when I was going to school for criminal justice, we had to learn all about racial profiling and why racial profiling is bad and it's naughty to racially profile and blah, 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 blah. But you also have to keep in mind, and this is where this came in, race is an important identifier when looking for a suspect. Okay? Now, the news doesn't necessarily always give the race of a suspect. Okay? Which makes it hard to find people. Also, the FBI will, and this is the thing, if you read the Census Bureau, Hispanics, white or Native American Hispanics are Hispanic, like they identify as white Hispanic if they're Native American. Okay, not Native American. They can be of any race. Well, actually, they did change that. Now they can identify as a Native American and be Hispanic. But originally, it was you were white if you were Native American Hispanic or Mestizo Hispanic. You were considered white. Mestizos are considered Hispanic, or not Hispanic, they're considered white. So my point is, as you can tell by Latin America, a lot of Latin American countries that are like 90-something% white, they're not really 90-something% white, they're mestizo. Meaning the people are half Native American and half white, and probably more Native American than white if you really, weigh it out probably genetically. But the fact of the matter is, the other thing was, and I'll take a quick look for it, he claimed to have read the genetics of Brazil, claiming everybody's predominantly white in Brazil. That's completely not true. Brazil is a very, very racially diverse country, and genetically speaking, there are oodles of people that are considered to be Pardo. He wanted to get all fancy with his name Pardo because I used the word mulatto. Here's a hint. This is an English-speaking country. I speak English. In America, we use the term mestizo, which is a Spanish term from the Spanish caste system. We also use the term mulatto. So a pardo is somebody that is part Native American, part black, and part white, or Spanish/Portuguese/white. My point is that, so a pardo is not actually a mulatto. They are something else. They are apart from that. But the point that I would like to make is that the way race is recorded on censuses is not being done in an accurate enough way. I really think that if we're to be accurate, more people need to, the race should be accurately recorded genetically at birth. And it becomes a question of expediency with the medicine. You know, like if somebody's Scandinavian, they're genetically predisposed to certain autoimmune diseases. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but there's a Scandinavian autoimmune disease which is very prominent. It causes the granulation of the organs. I forget the name of the disease, but it's a very common disease. Well, not very common, but amongst Scandinavians it's more common than other people. Black people are more likely to get sickle cell anemia. People of Ashkenazi Jewish descent are more likely to get Tay-Sachs. People of Irish descent are more likely to get Tay-Sachs. Interestingly enough, not from a related thing. I don't get that, but whatever. But my point is that I think that the genetic race of children should be recorded at birth genetically. I think everybody's race should be genetically recorded in the United States, and that the Census Bureau should not be asking you what you identify as. I think that it should be recorded accurately and biologically at birth, for the simple fact that you might want to know that as part of your health record. You might want to know, what race you are, what genetic diseases you may acquire, how you can alter your lifestyle to make the epigenetic factors better suit your genetic predispositions, things like that. It just makes sense to have that. Middle Easterners and Southern Europeans are more likely to get beta thalassemia. Japanese people are more likely to get beta thalassemia. There are certain genetic diseases that are prevalent among certain populations. And this is also why I agree with the concept of that La Raza Cosmica. You start realizing that mutts are good things. That's the truth. And that's all for this video. The links are in the description. I'm going to try and find, I don't have the link yet, but I'll try and find it, about the Brazilian genetic data. Brazil is very, very diverse, and I highly doubt that the majority of everyone in Brazil is predominantly European. Yes, if they're German or if they're Italian, they're predominantly European, but that's not the predominant amount of the country. The predominant amount of the country is a mixture of the different peoples. And that's all for this video.